Hi, this is Pam Holt with Inside B&B, and today I'm going to be joined by Carla Schaefer-Fritz. Carla is the owner of Virtual Solutions. She does admin support for the travel and short-term rental industry, and she's also a Pinterest expert. So I'd like to bring Carla on today. She's going to show you how she's helped me with my Pinterest account because I frankly had a Pinterest phobia. And Carla was generous enough to come in and set up my accounts and teach me the difference between a pen and a board and show me how to optimize my account and all the kinds of things that hosts need to know to utilize and maximize their space, their time and their space on Pinterest. So let's see if we can bring Carla in and she can share the tips that hosts need to utilize their Pinterest accounts. Okay, we're going to try to bring Carla in, and let's hope this works this time.
Hi,
It worked! Hi!
having some internet issues here.
Oh, that's okay. I'm glad to get you on because I think what you have to share is so important, and it was so over my head that I'm glad that you are here to explain it, and so I didn't have to suffer through trying to figure it out on my own. So thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, no problem. Why don't you tell us about your business?
I'm a virtual assistant and I specialize in the travel industry. I've been a travel agent for a long time. I decided I'd rather work on the admin stuff, customer support and that sort of thing. But I also really love Pinterest, and I think Pinterest and travel go hand in hand. And so I've started doing Pinterest management,
Okay.
helping people.
And why do you think Pinterest is such a good fit for the travel and short-term rental industry? Because I didn't get it. I didn't see that connection. I do
Ah,
now, thank you, but I didn't.
right, right. Well, Pinterest, regular users just think, oh, it's a fun place to go and get ideas and whatever. But think about that. It's a fun place to go to get ideas. So if you are thinking of it as a business point of view,
Hmm.
then that's where your customers are going to get ideas about where do they want to travel. I mean, travel is such a visual thing.
Hmm.
And if you want to get your message out, it's a great way because it's the third largest search engine. So
Okay, so that's what I wasn't clear on. Pinterest is a search engine as
yes,
opposed to some of the other platforms that are more for just
just
engagement. Is
fun.
that okay?
Right,
Okay,
right.
so once I understood that more fully, started to see how a host could build out an account that would kind of in the way that LinkedIn does, position you as an expert in a
Yes.
variety of different areas. So,
Hmm.
like when you set up my accounts, bless you, I have an account that is about decor. I have an account about cleaning. I have various not account. I have boards
Hmm.
that have those various topics. And so, as a short-term rental host, that's part of my educator portion. But as a host, you could have a board that had to do with your location. You could have one
Yes.
specific to your listing. You could
Hmm.
have what else could you do?
Well, I would say the first board you should have would be all your own stuff, things about your property, or if you have multiple properties, put everything there. And then you create other boards that are relevant to what your guests might want to, find in a property or the area.
Okay.
So I'd say, first of all, start with what features you have inside. If you have a special bathroom, maybe make a board about interesting bathrooms. If you have interesting amenities, make a board about fancy amenities. Better names for your boards than that. But so first of all, think about your features inside. Then think about your features outside. If you have a unique pool, if you have a really comfortable front porch, stairways and doors are um, really big interest topics on Pinterest. So if you have a great front door or
Okay.
bedroom door, I mean, anything that you can build a board around that's going to be broad enough that you're going to find interest from other people also pinning things like that. And you know that you can do multiple shots of your own thing.
Okay,
But
so the thing that confuses me, and it still does, is that it seems as though as a host you'd want to be presenting your door, if that's what we're talking about. But you're saying it's not just your door on this board; it's other
right,
doors on the board,
right, right.
and and that part is kind of confusing to me because you want it to be about you, I would imagine, but now you've got other people. So are you just building yourself up as the door expert, or
You're building that particular board up as something of interest. Think about if you were in a shopping center. Think if you had a store,
Mhm.
right? You wouldn't want to be out 10 miles away from everybody. You'd want to be in an area that had kind of, maybe there was a gift shop over here, maybe there was a sock shop over there, and it would draw people to the area. So you want to draw
Okay,
people to your board by
okay,
having other things that are relevant, that are of interest. And it grows, the more people that come to your board, the better the algorithms are with Pinterest to show your stuff further out. So when you
okay,
post your own pins, it will show it further out because you've got more people coming to your board. It's kind of
okay,
like Facebook in that way.
okay. So let's step back a little bit because now I already know these things. But what is the difference between a pin and a board? Let's get real basic because that's where I needed
Okay.
to start.
Okay. Um, the pins are individual. Let's look at boards as if you were doing file folders in your computer.
Okay,
Um, so each one has a board, each one has its own topic. And you, like I said, you want to make sure that they're relevant, that they all fit together with what you are trying to sell, which is your property.
hmm,
Um, and then the pins are the individual, say, the files that you would put in these folders. Or,
okay. That's helpful. I think
yeah.
that's helpful. Okay, and so for hosts, clearly we are trying to attract guests with our
Mm-hmm.
Pinterest accounts. So we
Yep.
are featuring our space, our amenities, our experiences, the experiences you can have around in and around our place, and then it's going out to people who are looking for travel destinations and they find your content based on keyword searches, just like in any
Keyword
other search.
search.
Okay,
Yes.
so when you're creating the pins and the boards, how do you set up the keywords to optimize those that exposure?
Okay. You find the keywords. First of all, the easiest way to find the keywords is you put whatever you're looking for in the search bar in Pinterest, and say you're looking for unique pools, right? You
Hmm.
put that in the search bar, and you'll get these little bubbles underneath that will say unique pools above ground, unique pools in Mexico, unique pools, and it will give you all kinds of little categories that you could find these unique pools.
Okay,
Use those as keywords.
okay,
So
and
you can either do that. Yeah, go
you
ahead.
use them in your description of the pins or the boards or both, or
You use it as often, as many places as you can. First of all, you try to get keywords in your username. You try to get keywords in your profile or your bio. You try to get keywords in the names of your boards. That's why you see a lot of best of, or travel tips. Tips
mm,
is a big keyword. Hacks, things like that. Um, you put them in the description of your board, you put them in the description of your pin. So there's several places you can put them. The more you can put keywords in a natural sounding way, the better it is to be found.
okay. And then do we use hashtags?
You can use hashtags, but they're not like on Instagram. They pick them up as keywords. They don't pick them up
Okay.
as specific hashtags.
Okay, I got it. So
You
use
can't.
them, don't use them.
Yeah, if you can get enough keywords in without them, fine, but you can always add them. It doesn't matter, but they just don't use them as Instagram does.
Okay, I understand. So if you were a host just getting started using Pinterest, how would you start? By
Um,
calling you? Because that's what I did.
right. Well, like I said, you would make your first board with only things from your own. Say if you were a blogger, you would only put your own blogs on there. Or if you were a tour operator, you'd only put your own tours on that particular board. And then the other ones, when you would build them out, um, like I said, think about the features inside that are interesting, outside that are interesting, and the area. Um, you could do something like coffee shops, fun coffee shops. And you wouldn't think about, you want to make sure that people that are coming to your boards are going to be interested enough to stay with your property. So even though there might be fantastic, coffee shops in New York,
Hmm.
if your property is in Rapid City, don't post anything from New York. And you
Okay.
know, people that are looking for cool coffee shops in New York are going to pass your board by and say, "Oh, there's nothing in there for me." But there's a lot of people that don't think about that, and they look at these. Oh, these are really cool, and it plants the seed. Maybe I'd really
Mm.
like to go to Rapid City, and then
Okay.
you funnel people down that way. Or say you're doing family road trips and you're in the Northeast, well, don't do anything from, Grand Canyon and California. Only put the things in there that would funnel them to your area. And then
Okay.
once they decide they want to go to your area, they have to think about some place to stay. So maybe they'll look around your boards and find something interesting in your
Okay.
property.
So that's what you mean about
Yep.
relevant content. I see. Okay. So let's then go to, how many pins, how many boards, how often, the
Yeah.
scary stuff.
The scary stuff. This,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the thing. You have to have patience with Pinterest. It's a long, yeah, it's a marathon. They say it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you need to pin consistently, probably about 10 pins a day, which sounds like a lot, but in the beginning, if you don't have a lot of your own, you're gathering pins from other people's things to put on your board. Eventually, you get more and more of your own things.
Okay.
But
But in the 10 pins, are they repins that you're sharing? That counts in the 10?
yes, yes, but don't repin more than, I'd say don't use the same pin. You can use the same pin on different boards if it works on more than one board, but I would say don't use the same pin more than every 2 weeks. It will bump it up higher on your board. When you look at your board, you'll see the top things. Um, but if you pin it too often, Pinterest sees you as spam, and then they ding you for that. So
Okay.
you don't.
So is that the same for your own original content as well as other people's content? That's the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So just don't do anything spammy. Um, and that's
How many
another reason.
boards?
I would say you should try to get about 10. I think 10 would be
Okay.
perfectly fine. I think you could probably get away with as little as 5, but when people come to your profile, you want them to see that you have, a little bit of stuff built out so that you look more like an expert in your area.
Okay. Okay. That's good. And so what about sharing from other social platforms? Does that work well on Pinterest?
You can share your Pinterest to Facebook. Um, I
And vice
suppose
versa?
you, I don't know. Pinterest is kind of funny. You want to make sure that you have the right size pins,
Mm.
and everything else is pretty much square. Pinterest is vertical. It's long and narrow. So you want to have it look like everybody else. Otherwise, the square ones kind of get lost in the feed, and it might be a really great picture, but nobody's going to really click on it. And you want people, the object is to get people to like your pin enough to click on it to get more information. And then it
Okay.
takes them to where you want to take them to.
So, and you want to take them presumably back to your website.
Yeah, if you have a website, if you don't have a full website, you can maybe build a landing page, a single landing page, or even if you don't have that, if you can go directly to the booking platform that you're
Okay.
using.
So you
You
could
can,
put in your Airbnb URL and send
yep,
them directly to your listing.
yep, you could.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what are some tips that you would have for short-term rental hosts to get going on this? Because it's a lot,
It
frankly.
is. Yeah. Well, like I said, just keep in mind that it's business and it's marketing. And if you want to grow it organically for free, you're going to have some patience because it typically takes about 3 months before you see consistent returns on it.
Okay.
Um, and like I said, you're trying to pin about 10 pins a day. It really doesn't take that long, especially if you're gathering up other people's content. But
But you know what? In the short time that I've had my account up, I've, I've, there are hundreds of people
yeah,
that have seen it, and I can't say. I mean, like hundreds, much more so than any of the other platforms that I'm
yeah,
currently on. So I'm still trying to figure out how to engage with them, in a way that maximizes that. But they're there and they're
they're there.
looking at
Yes,
stuff,
they're
and it's a
absolutely there. Yeah, the thing about Pinterest is, like I said, if you were thinking about what do you do on Pinterest for fun, you go there to find a recipe or find how to braid your hair. You are looking for a solution. And as a business person, if you provide that solution, then they're going to click through and you're going to get that traffic, you
okay.
know?
Okay. What about a paid situation with them? Is that
There
a good
is,
idea? Is that a
I would say once you have a good, robust you have a real good handle on how things work and you have a good, robust account, you could do paid ads. The promoted ads is what they're called. I have not done them yet, so I'm not an expert in it, but the experts say that it's a lot cheaper than Facebook ads to get
oh,
your
that's
pin
interesting.
because there's a lot less people doing it. So it's a lot cheaper and more people will see it. But you
Oh,
need to
that's
have
interesting.
yeah, yeah. But you need to have really engaging pins that people want to click through. Otherwise, you're kind of throwing your money away.
Okay.
So,
So
uh,
after, a few months, you might consider something like that. I think that's a great strategy because frankly, in the grand scheme of things, 3 months to set up is, you know,
yeah,
if
because
you have expectations that it's going to be sooner than that, good luck.
yeah.
So,
And once you get those boards set up, it's a lot easier. It's just that first couple of weeks of really trying to think what fits together and what's going to draw your guests to you. Um, And then the other thing another tip I wanted to make sure that people knew was when they're creating their pins, there are some free um, tools out there where you can create pins where there's already templates. Um, put put some text on it with a headline to make them want more. Make them want to click through instead of just look at the pin. You want them to see what's the information that they can get out of this, and then they will click on it, and that is what will take them to your website or your listing.
okay.
So,
So it's that's kind of my next question about the aesthetics. It's not, although it's very visual, that's content light. Um, you at least need something on it to tease sort of back to
yes,
where you ultimately want them to go. So is
yeah,
it? I mean, I see some pins and they really just have just a headline, like you said, and I see others that appear to be the whole, like a checklist, a whole
hmm
thing. And so is one better than the other, or when you see the checklist, does that then lead you back to more content typically, or is that the whole piece right there? Or could you
I
do it either way, I guess?
you could do it either way. I mean, in the checklist or an infographic,
Hmm.
um, might they might just look at that and say, "Oh, I can do that," or they might want to go back to your website and see what more information they can get from it. But I would tease them and only give them part of the information,
Okay.
like the three best bathroom amenities, or um, what's the softest. I think you have on your site. You've got a beautiful picture of the gray sheets, I love that picture. But I've seen other, I do, I love it. I've seen other short-term rental hosts have like the best sheets to buy, and it's just pictures of an unmade bed with white sheets, and it just draws you in and makes you want to know what is this brand of sheet because it looks so nice, it looks so comfy. So
So
you want,
then did you tie that back to like that particular image comes out of a blog post that I did about something about short-term rental design.
Mhm,
So you want to lead back to that post,
mhm.
even though there's not much that you could say about it on the actual image on Pinterest, other than, whatever, check out this blog post about sheets and such. Is is that how you would do it?
Yeah, put a headline like um, I don't know, inviting bedroom design or something like that.
Okay. All right.
Something that would make them want to read the post.
Okay. All right.
Or
Okay.
maybe
So,
the title of your post, of your blog.
okay. So as I said, I'm beginning to understand it. I'm trying. What I understand from a business perspective are the numbers that are there, and so all of the rest of what I don't understand is about to be worked out because the numbers are compelling. The
Hmm.
ad rates, as you're suggesting, that's interesting because Facebook is still, in terms of overall advertising, I mean, it's still cheap. But if Pinterest is even cheaper, and for host, because travel, I did do a search on Pinterest, and travel is a huge,
Huge.
huge section of what people are searching for. It just makes sense to figure it out, and so I'm
Right,
determined to do this.
right.
And thank you for your help doing this. How do you help hosts? What are the various ways? I know how we work together, but how else do you help them?
I can set up their account. If they really are time strapped and they don't want to do the posting every day, they can hire me for maintenance just to maintain it and make sure that, they get enough consistency on it. Like I
So
said,
you're doing the pinning for them at that point?
Mhm. Yeah, I could do that.
Nice.
Um, I don't do the ads. There are Pinterest managers out there that are experienced in doing ads, and I would suggest at this point to go to somebody that really knows what they're doing, so
Hmm.
you get your money's worth out of it. Eventually, I'll figure that out, but right now, I'm just setting things up and maintaining is what I'm
Okay.
doing with them.
Okay. And so that's where you and I are at this point with our relationship, which has been great because I frankly would never have done it by myself because I've never done it so far because it just didn't make sense. Okay. So do you have any other tips that we should leave folks with today?
I do have a short tip sheet, a PDF, if they want to get that. Um,
Okay.
they'd have to email me, and I'm going to send you one. I think you said that you could upload it for
I
them.
can include it once we're finished here. This segment and all these segments go to IGTV, my channel, but they also live on a new page on my website. So I will include your tips as a download from our segment today. And anyone who wants to get the tips can email you. And what email address should they use?
Carla with a K, Karla, at Schaefer Fritz Virtual
Okay.
Solutions.com.
Okay, and I will post that also so that folks can check you out. And in terms of the admin support, the general admin support that you offer, what does that typically entail?
Um, well, yeah. I can either do it manually, which would take a little bit longer time, so they're paying a little bit more for my time, or they can use a paid scheduler called Tailwind, which is partners with Pinterest.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. You're talking about Pinterest. I meant your
oh,
broader services beyond
oh, my
Pinterest.
services.
What did those
If
include?
they, if if your hosts need some admin customer support, somebody to keep an eye on their bookings or contact or, you know, deal with their customers.
Okay,
Um,
so guest
yeah,
communications and
yeah, yeah,
okay.
anything like
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you. Thanks for sticking in with us beyond our technical issues initially.
that. Thank
And
you.
yes, thank you for your help with Pinterest. I'm gonna master Pinterest. They don't know it, but I'm coming for them. And
Right.
and so you'll get sick of me in a second. You'll be like, "Oh, you're doing too much with your Pinterest." But I am gonna do it,
Mhm.
and I recommend it to other hosts as well. So thank you, Carla. Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for joining us today. I just want to tell you next week I will be masked up with all my windows open, 6 feet away from everybody I know, having the smallest Thanksgiving ever, and I hope that's the same for everybody else. But the following week, I'm going to be joined by Umi Half Designs. Umi is a website designer. She's going to come on and talk to us about building your own direct booking website, which is cool. I haven't done that yet, but that's on my goal list for 2021. And I would really like to do a show where hosts came on and talked about their goals for next year, because this year has been a wild ride. But I'd like to know what people have set up for next year, because I know everybody's in the planning process at this point. So we'll talk about that later. But thank you, Carla, and thank you,
Thank
everybody
you.
else who joined. And I'll see everybody 2 weeks from now. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hi.